The end is only the beginning. I attended one of Dr. Weiss's past life regression seminars in 2010 in Denver, Colorado. Only 7 months prior to this event, I lost my sweetheart, Christian, to a sudden and unexpected death. It was the worst thing I had ever experienced, and it left me a basket case, with so many painful thoughts and questions. At the same time, I had also spontaneously remembered a tragic past life with Christian and me that had ended in a similar fashion, which left me feeling even worse. Because I was so distraught about these losses, Christian's aunt told me about Dr. Weiss and recommended that I go to an event, saying that maybe I would find some answers or at least feel better. I looked him up and read his books, and they gave me some peace of mind. But when I found out that he was going to be as close as Colorado, I took the opportunity to travel and attend his event. My experience there has helped me so much by changing my perspective. It was the first regression of the day after Dr. Weiss had introduced himself and prepared us for what might be expected and experienced within the context of our time with him. When he put us into a deep state of hypnotic regression, of course I expected to go into a past life, just as I had done times before while listening to his regression CD. I remember that he had just come to the part where he gives the suggestion to go back to the earliest childhood memory, which I did. Like a child, I found myself in wonder and anticipation of the adventure I would soon discover when he took me back to a previous life. What past life clues and remnants would I uncover? What would they teach me about my life and myself? I can't be exactly certain of the words he spoke at the moment of crossing over that threshold between this life and another one, but what I heard was to step through the door and into the light. I did so with no hesitation. To my delighted surprise, I found myself being drawn into a tunnel of beautiful light. When he asked us to look down to see what type of footwear and clothing we were wearing, I was taken aback to see that my feet were bare and that I was wearing a long, robe-like gown. In an instant, I realized where I must have been, and although it didn't make much sense to my brain, I went with the experience. It was as real as if my eyes were wide open. Within the tunnel of this warm illumination, I saw the figures of beings. I did not see their faces, but I could feel strong presences. The predominant presence I felt was the spirit of my mother, who had crossed over nearly 40 years ago, when I was just a girl. There were others, too, but I was so years ago, when I was just a girl. There were others, too, but I was so enamored by the energy of the light that I could not shift my focus away from it. I became aware that I was weightless, and I was experiencing this wonderful new floating sensation. Every part of me felt as if it were being immersed and bathed in the sweetest, most cleansing energy. It was as though I had died and gone to heaven. The bliss was consuming, and there was nowhere that love was not. I remember thinking that I could stay in this loving light forever. Feeling so peaceful and fulfilled, I knew there was nothing that I could ever want or need again. Next, without knowing how I got there, I went from floating in the tunnel to some sort of transition area. It seemed like a hospital, except there was none of the equipment that you would normally see in a hospital on Earth. I knew what it looked like because I was in two places at the same time. I was both consciously observing and experiencing what was happening while I lay unconscious. I saw myself lying on a flat, illuminated surface, which, for lack of a better word, I will call a bed. This bed was most curious. I could both see and feel its amazing pulsating energy. I could feel its subtle vibration. It appeared to be made of smooth, crystalline rock, which radiated brightly as it so amazingly energized my spirit and soul. It had a magnetic quality about it, and like the light in the tunnel, the bed was alive with intelligence. I could feel that something extremely special was happening to me. It seemed to have a healing, restorative quality and effect about it. I watched while the unconscious part of me lay there lifeless, while my sweetheart, Christian, who had passed only 7 months earlier, was trying to rouse me into the awareness of this heavenly realm. Although there was a very conscious part of me in that heavenly realm, another part of my consciousness was still lagging behind, maybe in the bliss of the tunnel or, perhaps, still in the life that had been departed. Interestingly enough, the conscious me somehow knew information surrounding my death. I knew that it was sudden and unexpected. I knew it had something to do with my throat area. I got the impression that the cause of death was asphyxiation. I may have choked, but the point that fascinated me was that the sleeping one I was observing on that bed did not yet know that she had left the earthly realm. In her life, what had surfaced as previous past lives for her were many memories of dying horrible deaths while staying in the body until that last terrifying gasp of air. But this time was different. Because her spirit had left terrifying gasp of air. But this time was different. Because her spirit had left before seeing the face of death, there was no struggle, not even a hint of pain or fear involved with the process, so there was no realization yet of a passing. The body just died without drama, and now she found herself experiencing this incredible peace and freedom. From the perspective of the sleeping beauty lying there, I had the sensation of being in a deep dream state from which I was ever so slowly waking up, as if from a strong dose of anesthesia. As I was coming to, I could hear my beloved Christian speaking faintly at first, his words then growing louder. I heard him say, "Sweetheart, wake up. It's me. Come on, love, wake up. I'm here with you." As I heard these words in the far-off distance, I was confused about where to focus my consciousness. Which was the dream, and which the reality of my situation. I could both see and sense the presence of other loved ones with me, all of my beloveds watching over me with great care and attention, awaiting the reunion of that very moment when I would wake from my slumber and open my eyes to be greeted and welcomed into the overflowing joy that love is. It reminded me so much of the mood of anticipation and excitement that is present when a new baby is about to come into the world. As I mentioned before, I was encountering this whole scene from what seemed to be two quite different perspectives. It was fascinating, but what I am realizing is a possible third perspective. I experienced them both, and now another one is writing the both of them. Perhaps they are all aspects of me, only separated by diverse events in time. It was only because of the particular spirits who had previously passed before me that I believed that I was witnessing the actual death of my current earthly life. But, as I said, it seemed to be more about a birth into a wonderful new existence, one to which I needed to adjust and acclimate, rather than a death. I never got to wake up from my unconscious state to see what happened because it was at this time that Dr. Weiss began the process of bringing us back from a hypnotic state and into the awareness of this earthly life. After I returned, it took me a few minutes to begin to realize the implications of what had just occurred. In fact, several weeks later, I am still trying to comprehend them. However, despite my lack of full comprehension, this incident has given me so much more than I could have ever thought to ask for. It gave me the personal comfort of knowing that Christian will not only be there to greet me when I cross over, but that our love continues on. It has also helped me to deal with my fears about my own eventual passing. By helped me to deal with my fears about my own eventual passing. By previewing and experiencing my death, I realize there is nothing I need to be afraid of when it is my turn to walk through death's door, for beyond that threshold is unimaginable freedom and bliss. I am forever thankful that I was given this wonderful opportunity. It has truly been a gift. Jade Kramer. What if death is really just a birth into a beautiful realm of peace, a realm in which, as Jade says, there is nowhere that love is not? What if our departed loved ones gather with great anticipation to welcome our birth on the other side, to be reunited once again? Then, like Jade and Nathaniel, we would lose our fear of death, and we would embrace life with more joy and more purpose. In my book Same Soul, Many Bodies, I document numerous precognitive dreams and journeys to the near and far future. This is entirely feasible because, as modern physics describes, time is relative and quite different from our conscious perceptions and understanding. It is possible to see the future. Recently, a woman responding to an interview of mine with a description of her own near-death experience unknowingly echoed Jade's words. "I realized that life is like a dream," she wrote. "When you are born, you wake up into mortality in this physical body. When your physical body dies, you return to immortality. I'm not afraid to die anymore. It is like going home." We sang this truth as children, yet as adults we have forgotten. Life is but a dream, and how merrily we must partake in it as we sail down the stream of time. The author Catherine Frank writes about time as a deep pool rather than a fast-flowing river. What if time is indeed more like a lake than a swift stream, having depth instead of flow? All our memories, thoughts, and actions are stored there and can be retrieved by entering those deep waters. They do not flow away. They are never lost. We can enter the water whenever we wish. And when we are finished with time, we walk out of the lake and sit on its shore, as everyone we have ever known and loved comes to welcome us back and the brilliant light restores our souls. Both Jade and Nathaniel, and countless people across the world who have shared their experiences with me, call this show bliss. It is bliss. It is the source. Every word and every page of this book tells its story. It is the breath from which the cosmos is created. It exists before and beyond all dimensions. It precedes all space, all emptiness, all matter, all forces, and all energies. It is the timeless precursor of all that is. It is the origin of the field and of all intention. It is love itself, and it is that which begets love. It is known by many names but is beyond knowing. It is our true home. It is where we take off our bodies and our masks one last time and cast them into the eddy of eternity. It is where we finally realize that most transcendent truth of our soul's everlasting nature, of its journey into the beautiful dream which is life. It is where, after thousands and thousands of dreams, we awaken, and it is where, after thousands and thousands of births, we are born. The end is only the beginning. Acknowledgements. Our deepest appreciation goes to Gideon Weil, our extraordinary editor at Harperon. Gideon's masterful insights and inspired vision for this book, upon reading its first draft, resonated deeply with both of us, and we knew that we had found the perfect collaborator. Thank you also to production editor Suzanne Quist, assistant editor Babette Dunkeld, and the entire Harperon team for their skillful work on this book. We appreciate everything they do. We are very grateful to Tracy Fisher, our remarkable agent at William Morris Endeavour, whose help has been invaluable throughout the years. She has expertly guided this project since its inception. Our thanks also extend to her assistant, Pauline Post, for all her efforts and enthusiastic support. We are indebted to all of the organizations that have hosted our events over the years and provided the source for many of the miracles described in this book. In particular, Omega Institute has offered constant support and an idyllic healing environment for our larger workshops and retreats. Special thanks to Carol Donahoe for facilitating these fantastic events at Omega. Hay House has expertly organized most of our full-day seminars, as well as some longer ones. We especially want to thank Reed Tracy, CEO of Hay House, and both Molly Langer and Nancy Levin, who have tirelessly helped us to touch the lives of thousands of workshop participants. For his wise advice and input as well as his story, our thanks and love go to Jordan Weiss. We would also like to acknowledge the loving and loyal S, whose biting commentary literally shaped the pages of this book. This book would not exist without the 68 wonderful contributors who shared their words with the world. Our own words cannot express how grateful we are to you. Thank you to Renata Bartoli, PhD, Wayne Daniel Berard, PhD. Bryn Blankenship, CMHT, Key, Laurie Bogeddon, Karen Bowden, Michelle Brock. Michael Brown, MSSW, Marilyn Calabresi, Maria Castillo, SCSW, Cheryl. Valari Coventry, Horace Crater, PhD, Cynthia, Dave, Eileen de Bruin, Nikki Destio, Reverend Cindy Frado, Mara Gober, Susie Gower, Th, Michelle A. Hardwick, Melanie Weil Herrell, M.A., C.H., Jessica, Judy, Mira Kelly, Jade Kramer, Patricia Kuptz, Jeanette, Chris Johnson, MSc, Lee Leach, Michelle Lynn, DDS, Nina Manny, CHT, Donna Oftedinger, Judith Oliver, DVM. Nathaniel Peterson, Christy Rail, MSN, ARNP, CRNA, HHP, Tony Riley. Heather Rivera, RN, JD, PhD, Margie Samuels, Sandy, Aviva D. Charlene. Faith Susan, Terry, Tom, Greg Unterberger, Emmett, Asia Voigt, Dr. KC. Vyas, Donna West, PSY, D, Carla White, and Jennifer Williams, LCSW. Some of the story authors wished to be credited with a pseudonym, and although we have not listed their names above, we are equally thankful for their contributions. Space constraints forced us to leave out some marvelous and very moving stories. To everyone who sent in a submission that, unfortunately, we were not able to include in this book, our deepest appreciation extends to you as well. And to all the people across the globe and across the decades who have attended our workshops, read the books, worked with the CDs, and shared your stories with us throughout the years, our sincerest gratitude goes to each and every one of you. About the authors, Brian Weiss, MD, is America's leading authority in past life regression therapy. A graduate of Columbia University and Yale School of Medicine, Weiss is the author of multiple books including the New York Times bestseller Many Lives, Many Masters. Visit him online at www.brianweiss.com. Amy E. Weiss graduated summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, from Columbia University with a BA in psychology. She received a Master of Fine Arts in Fiction Writing from Washington University in St. Louis, where she won the Carrie S. Galt Prize for Fiction, and a Master of Social Work from Barry University. A certified hypnotherapist and award-winning nature photographer, she lives in Miami, Florida. Visit www.authortracker.com for exclusive information on your favorite HarperCollins authors. Credits: front cover design, Claudine Mansour design. Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.